making this presentation on our proposal for the doctoral program for technology enhanced learning. So the proposal for the TEL doctoral program and for the content of this program in particular was divided into the following levels. First is a 0 level of general PhD, and this includes the topics relevant for all PhD candidates, regardless of their study program. This could be topics such as generally about research and research design, and about the soft skills needed in doing a PhD, such as academic writing and similar. Then level number 1 is the TEL core, and these are the TEL topics relevant for all PhD candidates who are working in the field of TEL. There are not so many, and still we decided to raise them to their own level in the program. Then on the second level, we have 2.1 introductions to the major subtopics in technology enhanced learning. And we have introductions to the research methods in technology enhanced learning. And these are the topics from which the majority of the PhD candidates in TEL can select at least one that is relevant, and I can specify at least one from the major subtopics and at least one from the research methods that I used in TEL. And then on the third level, we have the so-called deep dives, which are the topics from which few PhD candidates in TEL can select one that is relevant, or some that are relevant, but in which the PhD candidates can contribute and which the PhD candidates can build themselves. So these are really narrow areas of research in technology enhanced learning that are found on this deep dive level. And I can also go one by one through these levels and tell you slightly more of our ideas for the content. And on the TEL core level, we separate into two different directions. One is TEL itself and TEL research, which would include the scope of the field, the terminology of the field of TEL, educational technology, e-learning, and learning engineering, and similar. Then the interdisciplinary nature of TEL, the roles of technology, learning, and innovation in TEL, the variety of different contexts and application domains in TEL and TEL research, and then the typical research questions in the field. These are just some indicators that are shaping this piece of content that we positioned on this TEL core level, the meta level, describing what is TEL and what is TEL research in particular. And then in the second part of TEL core, we have research methods in technology enhanced learning, where we wanted to include a presentation of the variety of research methods that are used in TEL, naming them all, and probably giving examples of how these methods are applied in the field of TEL and from which fields these methods originate, and also including some methods that are used in TEL related fields, such as some of the social science education and some of the human-computer interaction and computer science information system methods and so on. Then focusing more on the research design specifically in the field of TEL, and then selection of methods to fit the typical research questions in technology enhanced learning. Then on the second level, in the introductions, we have again divided into two different streams. And in the first one, there are introductions to the major subtopics in TEL. And these are, in our approximation, the 50 themes that we identified in our desk research in this project. And here on the left, you see the top 10 most popular topics, which have least educational resources: learning analytics, AI in education, personalized and adaptive learning, self-regulated and informal, smart or intelligent learning environments, pedagogical partners, gamification, visualization and visual analytics, mixed and augmented reality, and then engagement, emotion, and affect. And on the right side, you see the introduction to the research methods used in TEL, which are not in any particular order, but they are quantitative methods in TEL, qualitative methods in TEL, design-based research, action research, information system methods, HCI methods, software engineering methods. Again, just to remind you that from these introductions, what we had in mind is that at least one of the topics from the left and at least one of the topics from the right should be relevant to all PhD candidates who work in technology enhanced learning, and the list that we have on the left continues with more topics. And then some indicators again for the deep dives, so what we mean by them. On the left-hand side, you see the narrow subtopics in the field of TEL, the subtopics that are outside of the top 50 themes, or the subtopics that lie in the intersection between the major themes, or which we find quite important, the new and growing subtopics, those with a focus on the knowledge gap versus the established knowledge, and the focus again on self-study on special syllabus. And on the research methods side, there is slightly less content we foresee, but that could be a combination of research methods to fit a specific subtopic or application domain, or the research methods applied to specific subtopics with examples. And as an exercise, I brought the 15 training sessions that we delivered at the recent summer school, and I tried to position them on the different levels. For example, here, the design-based research, how to set up TEL-related field studies in practice. I positioned that on the deep dive, so the design science research itself might have been on the introduction, but then this specific part of that would be already a deep dive. The systematic approaches to literature review is general PhD education level. The instructional design for serious games. Again, here you see an intersection between the two subtopics, and that's why it's under the deep dive into this specific area. Then we have examples of introductory qualitative research in TEL, introduction to learning analytics, gamification in TEL, and they're all on the introductory level. AI and education with the specificity of multimodal learning experience and ethics of AI. That is a deep dive. Chatbots in TEL is another deep dive. Ethical AI in education is another deep dive. And then a session, Happy TEL PhD, productivity, progress, well-being in the TEL doctorate is both a general PhD knowledge and also a deep dive into this topic, and so on. Just to give some examples of training sessions. And we also have some indicators of what we would include into TEL and what we should exclude and what is not TEL. This is again a result of some of the workshops we had in the project, and these are just some indicators. So including in TEL would be both topics that cover both technology and learning, and only currently relevant technologies, not completely obsolete ones. We can rely on the 50 themes from the recent 15 editions of the summer schools, but this needs to be reviewed and updated. And also TEL includes both designing technology-enhanced learning, using technology-enhanced learning, and observing others using technology-enhanced learning, 3 different levels. And then what is not TEL, or what is in some cases on the border of technology-enhanced learning, was identified as technology not applied to learning, learning without the use of technology, all the non-digital technology used for learning, and also the impact-related aspects of administration of technology and education without having an impact on learning, measuring learning technology without impact on learning. So these 2 aspects were found to be on the border of the field of technology-enhanced learning. And in terms of the timeline, what we thought, which topics would be relevant at which stage. And I think if something is not covered before starting a PhD or during the first year, it remains relevant until the end. But the general PhD knowledge and the TEL core, we C mostly relevant for the first year, and then all the introductory subjects, both for the first and the second year, and the deep dives from the second to third and third plus, and also the PhD soft skills, a variety of topics there could be relevant even before the PhD and during the first year to study them, and the well-being for PhD is also important to be introduced early. And the variety of topics also related to academic career could be relevant to PhD students on the third plus year of their studies. There is one more point in the presentation of the TEL program as a means of sustainability and keeping the work on the program of doctoral education in TEL. We started a new special interest groups in EATEL called CUPTEL, the TEL curricula and programs. And we use all the background that we've collected in the DETEL project as a background for this special interest group. And there is one more piece of evidence and another study that I led a year or two ago, where we looked specifically at the master level programs in technology enhanced learning. And I would like to tell you a few words about it. But the goals of this new special interest group would be to become a discussion forum for master and doctoral level education in technology enhanced learning, and to create a network, exchange practices, and also to establish some exchanges of staff and students between universities, specifically in Europe. And this special interest group was opened just a couple of weeks ago, and we are welcoming everyone here and your colleagues to join. I can say a few words about this study that we did on the master level education in technology enhanced learning, and then we analyzed 154 master study programs around the world. There were actually more programs in this study from the United States than from Europe. But just to present you some few highlights from there, you see here the number of different topics in the curricula of these study programs. And you see that the curricula is dominated by interdisciplinary TEL subjects, as we categorize them, and also education and education-related subjects. There are relatively few subjects in computer science and information science and technology subjects, and there are very few other. But it's also interesting to see how these programs cluster together, how they're similar and how they're different. And we found three big clusters of programs, and we called them TEL Practice, the smallest cluster, and then the Balanced TEL and TEL Management. We found that very many master programs in technology enhanced learning actually focus on administration and management of technology enhanced learning in the organizations. And there are a big number of programs that have both management and theory and practice. And there are a few programs that focus on the link to practice and on hands-on, such as development of educational resources, development of educational innovation and technology enhanced learning innovation, and so on. And we also found 4 clusters of topics that which are included in these programs, and they are TEL, education, technology, and some other topics. And it's also quite interesting to see what other topics are usually included in these programs. And yeah, you can find these results in this publication. And I think I will conclude the presentation of the program.